The first thing I noticed about the alien ship wasn't its size. It wasn't the sleek, bone-white hull that stretched across the sky like a silent storm, nor the way it bent light around itself as if reality were optional. It wasn't even the absence of sound as it descended. No roar, no thunder, just a quiet, impossible presence blotting out the stars. No, the first thing I noticed was the feeling. Pressure. Not physical, nothing I could point to.
It was deeper than that.
Like something vast and ancient had turned its attention toward Earth and decided we were interesting. And that terrified me more than any weapon ever could. My name is Elias Carter, former engineer, former skeptic. Now something else entirely. I was part of the first contact response team stationed in what used to be Nevada's restricted desert zone. The kind of place governments pretend doesn't exist. We were prepared for invasion. We were prepared for communication. We were even prepared, God help us, for annihilation. What we were not prepared for was selection. The ship didn't attack. It hovered. For 12 hours. Every radar system failed to interpret it. Satellites glitched when they tried to image it. Even visual recordings came out distorted, like the ship didn't want to be fully understood. Then, at precisely 3:17 local time, it opened. Not with a hatch or a door. It unfolded. Segments of its surface peeled back like petals, revealing a soft, pulsing glow inside. From that light descended a single figure.
Tall.
Slender. Graceful. Not human. Not even close. Her skin shimmered with a faint iridescence, like oil on water. Her eyes, if you could call them that, were wide and luminous, reflecting colors that didn't belong on Earth. She moved like gravity, was more of a suggestion than a rule. And when she spoke, she didn't use words. She used understanding. Every person on that base heard her voice in their own language, perfectly clear. I have come to claim what is needed.
Yeah.
That went over well. Panic spread instantly. Weapons were raised. Orders were shouted. Protocols activated. But no one fired. Because some instinct buried deep in our DNA, told us that shooting her would be like throwing rocks at a star.
Pointless.
And possibly suicidal. She walked forward, unbothered by the dozens of rifles trained on her. I seek strength, she said calmly. Your species possesses it. That got attention. Not fear this time. Confusion. Strength? Humans? We were barely holding our own planet together. You will provide it, she continued. Willingly or otherwise. That's when General Hargrove stepped forward. Big guy. Old school. The kind of man who still believed humanity could stare down anything. You don't get to make demands here, he said. State your intentions clearly. She tilted her head, studying him. Then she smiled. It wasn't comforting. I will take one of you, she said. And through him, I will strengthen my people. Silence. Then a dozen voices at once. What does that mean? What are you planning? Define take. Her gaze swept across the assembled soldiers, scientists, and staff. Then it stopped.
On me. I don't know why.
I wasn't the strongest. I wasn't the smartest. I was just there. Standing slightly behind the front line, holding a tablet, trying to process a situation that made no sense. And suddenly, I was the center of it.
That one, she said.
Every head turned toward me. My stomach dropped. I think there's been a mistake, I said, raising my hand slightly. I'm not exactly. You are sufficient. 2 words. Final. General Hargrove stepped between us. He's not going anywhere, he said firmly. The alien, later we'd learn her name was Viral, regarded him with mild curiosity. You misunderstand, she replied. And then everything stopped. Not metaphorically. Literally. The wind froze. Dust hung motionless in the air. Every person around me locked in place, mid-motion like statues.
Except me.
And her. What did you do? I stammered. I removed interference, she said. She stepped closer. Up close, she was even more unsettling. Not because she looked monstrous, but because she looked perfect. Too perfect. Like evolution had reached its final form and decided to show off. I have studied your species, she said. You are fragile, divided, inefficient. Thanks, I muttered. But, she continued, you possess a trait we lack. And what's that? Her eyes seemed to glow brighter. Defiance. That wasn't what I expected. You came all this way for attitude? I asked. It is more than attitude, she said. It is resistance. Adaptation. The refusal to yield even when defeat is certain.
She paused.
My species has lost that. I frowned. Lost it? How do you just lose something like that? We optimized ourselves, she said simply. We removed conflict, removed uncertainty, removed struggle. And let me guess, I said. That didn't go well. Our progress stagnated, she admitted. We became static, predictable, weak in ways we could not perceive. She looked directly at me. You will correct that. I laughed. I couldn't help it. You're serious? I said. You think you can just grab a human, plug him into your system, and suddenly your whole species gets a personality upgrade? Yes. Yeah, no, I said, shaking my head. That's not how we work. She stepped closer. You misunderstand again, she said. Then she reached out and touched my forehead.
Pain.
Blinding. Overwhelming. It wasn't physical, not exactly. It felt like my mind was being stretched, unfolded, examined at a level I didn't even know existed. Memories flashed. Childhood. Failures. Arguments. Moments where I refused to give up even when it would have been easier. Every stubborn, irrational, human part of me laid bare. And she saw it all. When it stopped, I collapsed to my knees, gasping. Yeah, I croaked. Still think this is a good idea? She was silent for a long moment. Then she said something unexpected. You are more complex than anticipated. Glad to hear it. There is contradiction, she said. You resist, yet cooperate. You fear, yet act. You fail, yet persist. That's kind of our whole thing, I said. She studied me. Then, I claim you. The world snapped back into motion. Sound rushed in. People shouted. Weapons raised again. But before anyone could react, we were gone. Teleportation doesn't feel like anything. That's the weird part. No movement. No transition. 1 second you're standing in a desert. The next you're somewhere else entirely. In my case, inside the ship.
It was alive.
That's the only way to describe it. The walls pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. The air had a subtle warmth, almost like breathing. Surfaces shifted slightly when you touched them, adapting to your presence. Welcome, Viral said. I staggered, trying to regain my balance. Okay, I muttered. This is officially above my pay grade. You will adapt, she said. Yeah, that's what we do, I replied. Apparently. She gestured, and the space around us changed, walls reshaping into something resembling a room. You will remain here, she said. You will be studied. Integrated. Integrated how? I asked cautiously.
She paused.
Then answered honestly. You will not be asked to submit, she said. That would defeat the purpose. I blinked. Good answer. You will resist, she continued. You will challenge. You will disrupt. Also accurate. And through that, we will evolve. Days passed, or what I assumed were days. Time worked differently on the ship. There was no sun, No night, just a constant, ambient glow. They studied me. Not in the way I expected. No restraints, no invasive procedures. They observed every reaction, every decision. Every time I questioned something, argued, refused, or pushed back, they recorded it. At first, I thought I was a prisoner. Then I realized something strange. I had freedom. Within limits, sure. But they didn't try to control my behavior. They wanted me to be difficult, and I didn't disappoint. You can't just reorganize your entire system based on one human, I argued during one session. Why not? One of the other aliens asked. They looked similar to Viral, but less defined. Because we're inconsistent, I said. What works for me might not work for someone else. Yet your species thrives on variation, Viral noted. Exactly, I said. That's the point. You don't need to copy me. You need to embrace unpredictability. They processed that. Literally. I could feel it, like the ship itself was thinking. Weeks passed, then months, and something incredible started to happen. They changed.
Slowly, subtly,
but undeniably. They began to question each other, to disagree, to propose conflicting ideas. At first, it caused instability, confusion, but then innovation, solutions they'd never considered before, paths they'd never explored. They were evolving, and it scared them. You have introduced chaos, one of them said to me. Yeah, I replied. Sorry about that. It is uncomfortable, also normal. They hesitated, but it is also defective. I grinned. Welcome to being human. Eventually, Viral came to me again. You have fulfilled your purpose, she said. Already? I asked. I was just getting started. She almost smiled. Our species has begun to change. The process will continue without you. I crossed my arms. So what now? You send me back? She tilted her head. That is an option. Not a very enthusiastic one, I noted. You could remain, she said. Continue to guide us. I considered it. Staying on an alien ship, helping an entire species rediscover something they'd lost. It was tempting. But then I thought about Earth, about humanity. Messy.
flawed,
Chaotic humanity. They need me too, I said. She nodded, as expected. Before I left, I asked her one question. Why me? I said. Out of billions of humans, why pick me? She looked at me for a long moment, then said, because when I examined your mind, you resisted me. I frowned. Yeah, well, you were kind of invading my brain. Others would have yielded, she said. You did not. I shrugged. Humans don't submit, I said. She nodded. That is why you are strong. The next moment, I was back in the desert. Same spot. Same base. As if I'd never left. Except, everything had changed. They asked me what happened. I told them. Not everything, but enough. And as I spoke, I realized something. We'd always thought strength meant power. Weapons. Technology. Control. But the aliens had seen something we hadn't. Something we took for granted. Our refusal to give up. To accept. To submit. Even when it would be easier. Somewhere out there, an entire species was learning to be human. And for the first time in a long while, I felt like that meant something. Because we're not perfect. We're not efficient. We're not even united. But when it matters most, we stand our ground. We push back. We adapt. We endure. And if the universe thinks it can claim us, well, it's going to learn the same lesson they did. The hard way.